Black towers, older than human history. A pyramid with no architect. A lake that turns life to stone. These are real. Everyone was verified. Everyone still feels wrong. 3 kilometers from the Western Australian border, an entire city of striped sandstone towers rises from the outback. Jarnem. The beehive domes here have the exact same geology as the famous Bungles. Same orange and black banding. Same ancient sandstone. Yet most maps leave it unnamed. The Miriwong people sheltered beneath these walls for thousands of years. Their rock art is still visible today. At sunset, the escarpment glows blood red, and there is no one else around to see it. In the flatlands of central Angola, massive black monoliths rise 200 meters from the savanna floor. Pedras Negras, the black rocks of Pungo and Andongo. Ancient sand and stone compressed into conglomerate towers hundreds of millions of years ago. The softer land around them eroded. The towers refused. In the 17th century, warrior Queen Nzinga turned these rocks into a fortress and held off the Portuguese Empire. Her footprints are still etched into the stone. Kilometers of black rock in every direction, and almost no one outside Angola knows they exist. In Meghalaya's Jaintia hills, a river runs so clear that boats appear to hover in mid-air. The Umngot. The limestone bedrock acts as a massive natural filter. Whether it passes beneath the steel of the old Dawki bridge or the cliffs at Shnongpdeng, the water strips away everything but light. Every stone and shadow on the riverbed is perfectly visible. But this impossible clarity doesn't respect borders. As the current quietly bleeds into Bangladesh, it leaves the Umngot name behind and becomes the Shari-Goyain. In 1991, this volcano cooled every continent on Earth. Mount Pinatubo, the eruption shot 20 million tons of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere and dropped global temperatures by ½ degree for 2 years. The summit collapsed, leaving a crater 2.5 kilometers wide. Then the monsoons came. Year after year, rain filled the void until a turquoise lake sat where a peak once stood. The only way in today is through the lahar fields the eruption left behind. The volcano destroyed the road, so they built one through the debris. In Oregon's Umpqua National Forest, a river drops 120 feet through a wall of perfect hexagonal columns. Toketee Falls. These basalt pillars formed 750,000 years ago when volcanic lava from the Cascade Range cooled so slowly it cracked into exact 6-sided shapes. Nature built geometry before humans ever could. The North Umpqua River carved through this rock over millennia, dropping in stages before crashing into a turquoise pool below. The name Toketee comes from Chinook. It means graceful. For once, a name that undersells the place. 100 kilometers east of Samara, a lake no wider than 50 meters sits quietly in the middle of the Russian steppe. Goluboye Ozero. Hydrogen sulfide rises through cracks deep in the karst bedrock, saturating the water and killing nearly everything inside it. What remains is calcified. Plants turn to stone beneath the surface. Locals call it the Dead Lake. The water stays 8 degrees year-round. It never freezes, not even in a Russian winter. In 2013, the bottom collapsed. Divers found a tunnel leading further underground. No one has reached the end. In the high desert of northwest Argentina, at 3,500 meters above sea level, a perfect pyramid rises from the 6th largest salt flat on Earth. Coño de Arita. For most of the 20th century, no one believed nature could build this. The symmetry was too precise, the geometry too clean. It had to be man-made. It wasn't. The cone itself is a volcano that never erupted. It pushed upward through the crust, but never broke through. No crater, no lava, just a sealed pyramid of rock and salt, left standing in white silence. The Aymara called it Arita. It means sharp. They were not wrong. On Puerto Rico's north coast, 2 walls of ancient limestone curve inward from the shoreline and almost touch. Mar Chiquita, the Little Sea. The Atlantic pushes through a gap barely 24 meters wide, flooding a horseshoe cove with turquoise water, then pulling it back out with every wave. These walls were sand dunes during the Ice Age, compressed into stone long before the ocean ever reached them. Now the ocean is inside, and it is not leaving. In Brazil's Mato Grosso do Sul, a spring pushes over 10,000 liters of water per minute through a fracture in the limestone. Nascente Azul, the blue spring. The magnesium in the bedrock filters light so precisely that fish change color the deeper they swim. Silver near the surface, blue at the bottom. Until 2012, this was buried beneath a cattle ranch. 4 years of restoration uncovered it. Beneath the pastures, this had been waiting the entire time. In Guatemala City, there is a map of an entire country built at ground level out of 60,000 bricks. Mapa en Relieve. In 1905, engineer Francisco Vela finished what took him 16 years to plan. He surveyed every mountain and volcano in Guatemala by donkey. No satellites, no aircraft. Just a theodolite his partner built by hand. Railways are cast in lead, bridges in steel, and real water still flows through every river fed by a tank buried beneath the map. A country built inside a country. On a dirt road in western Madagascar, 25 trees stand where an entire forest used to be. The Avenue of the Baobabs. These are Grandidier's baobabs, nearly 1,000 years old, 30 meters tall, trunks wider than houses. They were never meant to stand alone. A dense tropical forest once surrounded them. Then the forest was cut down. The baobabs were left behind, too valuable to destroy, too strange to explain. The Malagasy called them Renala, mother of the forest. Arab traders had a different name. They said the devil ripped them from the earth and planted them upside down. At sunset, the trunks turn gold, and the shadows stretch across the road for hundreds of meters. It is still a national highway, but at that hour, no one is driving. In Zion National Park, a canyon carved itself into a perfect tube. The subway. The left fork of North Creek cut through 180-million-year-old Navajo sandstone until the walls curved overhead and closed in. Light filters down through a narrow slit above and bounces along the curved walls, turning everything amber. Emerald pools collect in potholes the river ground into the floor. Only 80 people per day are allowed in. Most never make it past the permit lottery. Every April, a hill in Ibaraki Prefecture disappears. Hitachi's Seaside Park. 5.3 million Nemophila bloom across Miharashi Hill at once, turning the ground the same color as the sky. On clear days, the horizon vanishes. Earth and sky become the same thing. The flower is not even Japanese. It was planted here because its blue matched the Pacific behind the hill. By October, the same hill turns blood red. 40,000 kochia plants replace the blue, as if the season itself changes the paint. In western Madagascar, 1,500 square kilometers of limestone have been carved into a forest of blades. Tsingy de Bemaraha. 200 million years ago, this was a coral seabed. Tectonic forces lifted it above ground. Then the monsoons came and dissolved everything soft, leaving only what was hard enough to survive. What survived are needles of stone up to 100 meters tall, sharp enough to cut through skin on contact. In Malagasy, Tsingy means where one cannot walk barefoot. After 200 million years, nothing has changed. Off the coast of West Africa, on an island most people visit for the beach, a volcano rises 7,500 meters from the Atlantic floor. Teide. For centuries, European sailors crossing the Atlantic believed this was the tallest mountain on Earth. They used it to navigate. Columbus watched it erupt as he passed in 1492. Above 2,000 meters, the clouds fall below. The volcano stands above the weather, surrounded by black lava fields that look like the surface of another planet. It is officially certified as one of the best places on Earth to view the night sky. At 3,718 meters, it is the highest point in Spain. Millions sunbathe on the coast below, right at the foot of a sleeping giant. If you are still here, thank you. You just gave 15 places, more of your time than most give to anything. There are more coming, places that have never appeared in a travel video before. One question before you go. Out of these 15, which one changed the way you see this planet? Not which one you want to visit. Which one changed something in you? See you in the next one.